This is Flair Airlines, one of Canada's cheapest and most hated airlines because according to the reviews, they cancel flights for no reason, have horrible customer service, and are scammers because they charge for absolutely everything. They were even called the worst airline in North America by someone and have an overall rating of 2.5 stars on TripAdvisor. So in this video, we'll be finding out if all these reviews are true and if $49 can actually get me home because yes, the fare for this flight was only 49 bucks. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the video. After spending a nice hot and sunny week on Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia, it was finally time for me to head back home. I first had to take a 3-hour bus ride all the way down to Halifax's airport where I would be taking my homebound flight with Flair. While I get to the airport, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how Flair Airlines can sell as cheap flights. Flair follows the ultra low-cost carrier airline model. That means that the actual flight is cheap, but everything else in your seat and a small personal bag comes at an extra cost. Here are some add-on examples. You want a carry-on, 29 to 74 bucks. You want to select your seat, between 15 to 45 bucks depending on your seat choice. You get the idea. But speaking of add-ons, that's where I ran into a slight problem. When I first booked my flight, I bought a carry-on and seat selection add-on because it was cheaper to buy it then than at check-in. But when I checked into my flight, my seat selection add-on had completely disappeared. So I had two options. Either I did nothing and would be stuck in the middle seat, or I bought it for a second time for more expensive. If you know me, you know I chose the second option because I would do absolutely anything for a window seat. I told myself I would try to sort this issue out later with the Flair staff at the airport. Now, let's get back to me arriving at the airport.
Now that I'm at the airport, let's go check in into our flight.
And when I say check in, I mostly mean go see if I can solve my problem.
Now, let's go through security.
So, was I able to solve my problem? Well, the only thing the check-in lady did to help me is tell me to call Flair's customer support, which I called later after my flight and were absolutely useless. So, it looks like this one review from earlier was true. Just before going through security, I got a little hungry, so I went to grab myself a sub, which was pretty good after the long bus ride. Now, let's actually go through security. Immediately after stepping out of security, I saw this Flair 737 MAX 8, which was the plane I thought I would be flying on later.
So I'm at the gate. My flight doesn't leave until like 2 hours, so I'm gonna wait until the boarding starts, and then let's see how the plane looks, because right now it's not there.
After waiting for a little while, our plane finally showed up, and to my surprise, it was a Canada Jetlines A320. It looked like today's Flair flight to Quebec City would be operated by Canada Jetlines. The plane quickly unboarded, and it was then time to board. Surprisingly, boarding was on time. For today's flight, I was in seat 28. When boarding was complete and everyone had settled down, we started pushing back. Today's flight would be taking me from Halifax's Stanfield International Airport to Quebec City's Jean Lesage International Airport. We departed around 5 minutes early and arrived around 30 minutes early, which surprised me for Flair. The total flight time for today's flight was 1 hour and 8 minutes.
Now that we're in the sky, I'm gonna show you around the seat. So here in front of you, you have the front seat with the back pocket. Here you have the safety card for the Airbus A320.
On this Flair flight operated by Canada Jetlines, we also have the Canada Jetlines menu.
I was surprised to see that this plane has a USB port right over here.
There's the tray table. And when we look at the legroom, it's much better than I expected for a low-cost airline like Flair.
Also, I was surprised to see a recline on the seat. The recline actually works, and I was surprised it's quite good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the plane. Overall, it's pretty good. It's just a little dirty over there because I don't think they cleaned the plane between the flights because it was a quick turnaround. But as you can see, it's a bit dirty. Also, the seat has something on it. I don't want to know what that is, but yeah, it's a bit dirty. But yes, the seat is a bit dirty, but it's not quite that bad. The flight gets you to point A to point B, so I think it's not that bad. For the price I paid, I'm pretty happy. I'm also surprised to know that we get complimentary beverages on this flight, because normally I think low-cost airlines give you nothing and you have to pay for everything.
I then went to check out the in-flight entertainment. This is the IFE of Canada Jetlines because this is one of their planes, but Flair also have their own in-flight entertainment. On the IFE, the movie and series selection wasn't the biggest. There were also a few games and a moving map that didn't seem to be working. This IFE isn't the greatest, but for a low-cost airline, I can't really complain. It was now time to check out the loo. It was pretty spacious compared to the loo from the last video, which you can go check out by clicking the link above. This loo was also surprisingly clean. The only thing I have to complain about is that the floor was a bit sticky, but other than that, the loo was pretty good. I give this loo a 7 out of 10. When I got back to my seat, I tested the seat's padding, which was pretty good. For the whole flight, the seat kept me comfortable. Before I knew it, we were already starting our descent into sunny Quebec City. So, should you fly Flair? Well, if you don't mind on giving up on a little service and just want to get from point A to point B for cheap, I think Flair is a great option and I don't see any major reasons why you shouldn't fly with them. And if you're wondering how much this flight ended costing me, after paying for my fare, my carry-on, and my seat selection twice, in total, today's flight with Flair cost me a little over $120 Canadian, which is really cheap compared to if I would have flown with Air Canada. So that's gonna be it for today's video. If you liked the video and you would want me to fly with Flair once again, but this time on one of their planes, well, hit that like button, and if I see this video gets a decent number of likes, I'll book another flight with Flair to see how flying on one of their aircrafts is like. And if you don't want to miss out on my future videos, a sub to the channel would really be appreciated. So that's it for today. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!